I'm Jessica from Brown Paper Bunny, and today we're going to make a watercolor pumpkin card together. To get started, here are the supplies you're going to need. You'll want a Tombow water brush or a paintbrush in a jar of water, a Tombow blending palette, a sheet of watercolor paper, some scissors, an eraser. I'm using the Tombow Mono Dust Catch Eraser, a Tombow Mono Drawing Pencil, and I'm using a 4H because it's nice and light, so it won't show up too much underneath our watercolor style ink. And you'll need your dual brush pens, 2 shades of green. I'm using 177 and 249. And then you'll want 3 kind of orangey shades, and you'll see I've got sort of a yellow orange, an orange, and a red orange. I'm using 946, 905, and 885. And if you'd like to do any writing on your greeting card at the end, you might like to use the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. The first step is to sketch out our pumpkin shape using your Tombow Mono Drawing Pencil. And if you want to turn it into a greeting card, you'll want to draw your pumpkin on the bottom half of the page. That way, once you've finished with it, you'll be able to fold the paper in half and use it as a greeting card. So start by sketching just sort of a rough oval shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then you might want to draw a slightly curving stem that sticks up. But you'll want a nice flat top, so that way when you fold your paper in half, that can be the point where the 2 halves stay stuck together. And maybe you want some little curly vine pieces. Looping over. And then let's divide our pumpkin into some segments. So just doing some rounded lines, sort of going around the pumpkin like this. This just gives our pumpkin a little bit more shape. Okay, once you're sort of happy with your rough pumpkin outline, you can erase any lines that you don't want to be there. Got a few extra pencil lines over here and a little bit here. Okay, we're going to start with our lightest colors first and build up to our darkest colors. So select your lightest orange color and scribble some of the ink directly onto your blending palette. Then using your water brush, just give it a gentle squeeze to drop a little bit of water on top of the ink. Then blend the ink and the water together and pick it up with your brush, and we're going to paint a layer of color on our entire pumpkin except for the stem. And anytime you need to pick up some more ink, just grab it from your blending palette, keep painting. If you didn't use all of the ink on your blending palette, you can just use a little piece of paper towel to wipe it down. It's also handy for cleaning any of the color out of your brush. just give it a gentle squeeze and wipe it on the paper towel until the color runs off. Okay, the next color we're going to do is our orange, and again I'm using 905, and same as we did previously, just put a little bit of ink on your blending palette and then add a few drops of water, mix up the ink and the water, and this time we're going to use this color along some of these lines where there's likely to be a little bit of shadow. And again, I'm going to keep it very loose and quite rough. It does not need to be perfect. So just putting some of that color in these areas that would be darker and wouldn't get as much light. Now I'm actually going to mix up a third color that I don't have here, and that's the beauty of the blending palette, is you can make additional colors by adding 2 or more of your pens together. So I'm using my yellowy orange and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this darker orange that we just were using in the last step to make a different color. I'm going to just roughly paint some of that on over here. So I'm pretending that the light source is kind of coming from this direction. So this half of the pumpkin will be a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm going to use my darkest color, 885. I'm only going to need a little bit of that one. So again, just a couple of drops of water, blend it up. And I'm just going to add this to some of the darkest areas. Now we're going to move on to the stem. So again, starting with your lighter green, I've got 177. Scribble some onto the blending palette, and because we've just got the 2 colors and you only need a little bit of ink, you can also put your darker green on at the same time. And so this one is 249. Drop on a little bit of water. Blend, and then we're going to do a layer of this lighter green on the whole stem to start with. Let's pick it up. Then while this ink is still wet, pick up some of your darker ink, and again, imagining that the light source is coming from this direction, this side would be a little bit darker. So you can just sort of drop some of that ink in and blend it a little bit with the last layer while it's still wet. And there you have your pumpkin. So let's do some cleanup and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now that your pumpkin is dry, you're going to want to fold your card. And I've scored a little line here with a bone folder, but if you're careful, you can just fold it. You just want to make sure that the fold is across the top of the pumpkin stem. Okay, and once you've folded your card, you can use your scissors to cut around the pumpkin so it has a bit more of a fun shape. Once your pumpkin is cut out, you can either leave it like this and just write a message on the inside, or you can use your Fudenosuke brush pen to write something on the front of the pumpkin. There we go. Now you just have to write a message on the inside and you're ready to send it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'd love to see your watercolor pumpkin card. So if you share it, make sure to tag Tombow USA and Brown Paper Bunny on social media.